Aglio e olio, or aglio, olio e peperoncino, is one of those incredibly simple but delicious pasta dishes that you have to have in your arsenal. Not counting the pasta, it's only made of 3 ingredients: garlic, parsley, and chili. But we have to have those prepped, so let's do that now. Let's talk about the pasta first. Aglio e olio is one of those dishes that relies on emotion, so it's very important what kind of pasta we're using. What you're looking for is spaghetti that's been extruded through a bronze dye. The way you can tell is that they're gonna be lighter in color than the cheaper orange looking pasta. They're gonna have more texture to them, and they're gonna have a dustier look. The dust is the starch, which is super important to creating the sauce. For the chili part, I'm gonna use some dried flakes. Some people use fresh chili. Should you use one over the other? It's entirely up to you. I'm gonna use 2 large garlic cloves, but you can use 3 smaller ones. And I'm gonna very finely dice them. Okay, I've got my garlic diced. I'm just gonna put it in a little glass here. And the last thing that we need is a little bit of parsley. That gets the same treatment as the garlic. Actually, I can give you a little bit of a tip. In this case, if we want to avoid bruising the parsley, instead of going up and down with the knife like this, we should try to do more of a slicing motion. In other words, we cut, we don't chop, and we're not going to bruise the parsley. Alright, I have my parsley ready as well. Let's move over to the stove. I've got a pan and a pot here. I'm gonna start cooking the pasta in the pot, and I'm gonna start making the sauce in the pan. As soon as the pasta becomes pliable, I'm gonna move it into the sauce and I'm gonna finish it there. The water's coming up to a boil, so I'm gonna season it with a couple of big pinches of salt. And I'm gonna throw in the pasta. Meanwhile, I'll start on the sauce. And I have the pan on the lowest heat because I don't want to burn the garlic. I also don't want the oil spitting everywhere when I add the water. I'm gonna add the chili and the garlic into the oil. And I'm gonna let these infuse for a little bit. We don't want any color on the garlic. We're just trying to infuse the oil with it. So I'm just gonna take a ladle and take some of the water and add it into the oil. Once we add the pasta, we're gonna keep doing this as if we're making a risotto. We're just gonna keep adding pasta water, reducing it down. Keep adding pasta water, reducing it down. And I'm gonna add another little ladle and I'll transfer the pasta in. Now that the pasta's in, I'm actually gonna move this to this burner because it's gonna be a lot less awkward. And I'm just gonna keep adding pasta water. I'll crank the heat up a little bit. This way we can not only control the doneness of the pasta, but the consistency of the sauce as well. If you can, feel free to give it a little toss. That's gonna help with the emulsion. Otherwise, just keep stirring, keep reducing the liquid, and keep adding more as needed. I'm gonna pinch a piece off and give it a little try. It still has a little bite, so I think it needs another minute or 2. I can also tell that it needs more salt, and I'm not gonna add much more pasta water, if any, so I'm gonna give it a pinch more. You can see how the sauce is thickened, almost all the water has evaporated. I'm ready to add the parsley. Now to me that looks a little bit too tight, so I'm gonna add the tiniest splash of water because it's gonna tighten up a little bit on the plate and I want it nice and juicy. And then I'm just gonna finish it with some of that beautiful sauce. This is also optional, but I'm gonna crack a little bit of pepper on top. All right, let's dig in. Oh yeah, it's so juicy. It's a little spicy, it's garlicky. You would think that it would be fatty and oily because we added a lot of olive oil, but it's not. It's super light and fragrant. It's amazing and you should know how to make it. Roll out.